Let's talk about tires. Tires come in two primary flavors. You've got full rubber and you've got air-filled. Deal with full rubber is that they are obviously full of rubber, so the primary concern is mostly the outside, since anything that happens to the interior of that wheel has to go through the outside first. So the nice thing is that those are very low maintenance. They're pretty durable. They'll last quite a while. I've had several wheelchairs that used rubber tires, and I don't think I ever had to replace any of them. Now, maybe I should have, but the nice thing is that even if they do get degraded, they'll still technically work. Just maybe not quite as well. Air-filled are nice because they're lighter, so solid rubber. Like I said, very durable. Almost never going to need to change them, but they are much heavier because they're full of rubber. These are air-filled, so I remove them from the wheelchair when I need to transfer into a vehicle, for example. But the deal with that is that they require a great deal more maintenance, and will need changed much more regularly. So I mentioned the outside, so that'd be the tread. As you can tell on this wheel, that tread is not very pronounced because this is an older tire. It's going to need replaced relatively soon. You can still sort of see the outline of where the tread is currently, certainly by comparing it to the other side. So right now, this right side is getting rubbed down far more than the left. For those of you more familiar with automotive tires, the same principle applies there too, which is why we do tire rotations. Now, here's the thing. When you do that on a car, you're expanding your tire life by quite a fair bit. Not so much with a wheelchair wheel that you might buy a few months, but probably not all that much. It depends, I suppose, on how frugal you want to be, and certainly how adept you are at removing these tires and flipping them to the other side. And I do mean rotating the tire on the wheel, not so much on the chair. So remember, the interior is where we're seeing the rubber get burned off. That is true on both sides. So if you just flip the wheel from this wheel to that wheel, or excuse me, from this side to that side, or vice versa, then at that point you've still got the same problem. So what you would have to do if you did want to rotate tires is remove the tire from this wheel, flip it, and then put it back on. And you'd have to do that for both of them in order to do it right. And while this sounds simple, I assure you it is not. I've had to do that a few times, and it is by far one of my least favorite activities to do with a wheelchair. These tires in particular are called marathon tires. What that means is that they are supposed to be as durable as they can be, but because they're durable, they're also really hard to work with. So honestly, in the past, I've gone to a shop to do that for myself because it's so difficult. Now, if you need that to happen, we'll make it happen, but it's not trivial, and I don't recommend, if you're new to this, doing that by yourself. Definitely get it looked at first. Have it done for you so you can at least look at what you're dealing with. I have lost many a tube trying to do it on my own the first time around. So like I said, this is still something we can certainly do for you. One other thing, one other surefire way that you'll tell whether or not a tire needs changed is if you look at this side profile. So as you can see, this outside piece right there is higher up than the interior. And that is because the interior, has burned off rubber that the exterior has not. One other thing I want to call attention to is this bubble down here. That is a sure sign that tire is running low on air. I'm trying to rotate the tire so that you can see a little easier, but it's a little tricky with balancing one hand with the phone, the other with the wheel. You can sort of see where there's a bubble on that tire that's sort of protruding outside from the bottom. Now you might be saying to yourself something like, oh, that's an easy fix. Well, it's simple. It's not easy. It's simple because you just need to apply air. The problem is the way you get the air in, because these tires have a range between, I believe, 80 and 120 psi. Now here's the problem with that. Hand-cranked pumps usually have a limit of somewhere around, I think the highest I saw was 60 or so. Which is a problem because you need almost double that in order to get these tires fully aired. Now, I have tried to use a hand pump like that, and I will tell you, it does not work. The pump that I tried at that point ended up popping the tube. And for those of you that are curious as to what I mean by tube, essentially, the air-filled tire is not just the tire, you're also dealing with the tube that's within. So inside of there is a little tube, goes around the wheel, it's underneath the tire, and that is what holds air in that tire. It's the same for a bike tire. So because that tire pressure is so great, you can't really use a hand pump. They don't go nearly high enough. What you can use if you have someone that is able-bodied with you is sort of a standing pump, like you would use for a bicycle. So it goes on the floor and it's got a pump, and you push it down with usually both of your hands and your feet on a sort of platform on the ground. Problem is that doesn't really work for people that don't have an able-bodied person at home. So the alternative option, really the only one we've got, is a powered pump, an electric one. Now, usually the problem with those is that they're meant for cars. So usually they'll have a sort of plug-in that goes directly into your car, so that's pretty simple. But the problem is that they're meant for cars, and cars usually go to about 30 psi. Now, as I mentioned, you need a little over 3 times that, give or take, depending on the type of tire you have. So again, not an easy thing to fix. The deal is that you need the right equipment to handle that particular job, and that's usually something that isn't that common. Now, as far as replacements, repairs, again, if this is happening to your wheelchair or the wheelchair of someone you care about, get them to a shop. Frankly, I would recommend a bike shop in most cases, because the tires, at least on this one, are the same as a bike tire. The tire that I have goes on bikes. The deal is finding the right size, and a bike shop generally is going to be able to help you with that, especially if you don't know what the size is. Usually it'll say on the side of the tire, but sometimes that's not the case, and sometimes you need to get measured. Here's the other issue with that. Sometimes that wears off. So that right there should show you the PSI required, but it'll also show the sizing of that tire, usually somewhere at either end of the logo. So this is a Marathon Plus tire. It's very good, heartily recommend it, but as you can see, the information that I need is worn off. So if you do see that happening with your wheels, then please contact myself or someone like me that can help you get that wheel straightened out, or those wheels. As usually, especially in the case of a tire replacement, you really should replace both. That way it's a lot more even as far as how they're being used. Again, that sort of thing can hinder handling, especially if you have a low tire or a tire that's low on tread. Substantially harder to push. It's amazing to me because it's a gradual decline, right? As the tire is losing air, especially, or maybe losing tread, it's a very gradual decline that you might not notice right away. That makes it gradually harder to push, but not in leaps and bounds, until you get down to it where you're almost out of tread and your tire's really low to where you have a bubble, like what I have now. And you think back and you're like, this used to be a lot easier. And on top of that, this is further cemented when after you get those replaced, and suddenly you're like, wow, it's like I can breathe again. I'm free, I can move so much more freely. So if you see this happening to your wheelchair, the wheelchair of someone you care about, get them over to a shop. Like I said, I recommend a bike shop if you can't find a mobility company like mine. To be clear, one of the biggest reason that I do recommend bike shops, for example, there's this place that I'll tag in the video in Greenwood that I've used in the past. Actually, they moved to Southport. I'm sorry, they moved to Southport. But I've used them in the past. They've treated me very well. But yeah, get over to them or get over to somebody who can help you, because they will absolutely be able to help you with tire needs. And again, it'll make you feel a lot better, or make pushing feel a lot easier. If you need anything other than that, especially if you just need air, feel free to give me a call. If you need help finding somebody that can help you, I certainly can as well. Just reach out. My phone number, the phone number for the company is 317-349-2105. We also have a website. You're welcome to send me an email. My contact information is over there. But yeah, if there's anything we can do, we'll help you keep rolling. One other quick shout out. Thank you so much for looking at this video. Frankly, I'm not sure how you got here just yet because I haven't done a whole lot of spreading the word on my Facebook page, but we do have a Facebook page. In fact, everything that is here is also on Facebook. In fact, there's actually more on Facebook that is not on YouTube. So if this sort of content is helpful to you or someone that you care about, by all means, give us a look. I'll also be uploading in the future to our website, keeprollingmobility.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Keep rolling.